Now, the first thing that we have to understand is that we must understand to use the law correctly. And the kingdom, the law, is to be able to use consciousness or to be able to have dominion over your own consciousness, your own mind. The nature of this law is seen through Christ. We're going to talk a little bit about the secret nature of the law. The reason why we're going to talk about the nature of the law is so that we understand how to utilize the law in its highest aspect. Now, we must understand that the law is Lord and the Lord is law. Let not the law depart from out of your mouth. Let not the Lord depart out of your mouth. The law is the Lord and the Lord is the law. In the Old Testament, these laws were seen through these festivals. And these festivals were representations of the Christ. And this is why when Christ comes, he says that he has fulfilled the law. But when we understand the law, we have to understand the secret of the nature of the Lord. Because I think that some people are hearing this teaching and you're being turned on and you're hearing this and it's making sense. But I think that it's time that I start training some of you partners to come up to the next level of understanding the nature of the law. Every law carries a nature. There is a quality or a nature that is carried in every law. There is an aspect of the law that gives it a nature. And this nature is known through the Lord or through the name. Now, in biblical terms, when we understand the Bible, we first must understand that names are used in analogies or symbolisms or iconography to show us things about the nature. For example, when we look at the 12 tribes of Israel, and we look at their names, these names are not just random names that are given. These names tell a story in the order of each name of the tribes of Israel. So we have to understand in ancient texts and in sacred knowledge, you hear me teach and you hear me say that in sacred knowledge, truth has to be clothed. It is not to be naked, for if it is naked, it can be molested and raped. The carnal mind will molest it and rape it. Therefore, truths have to be covered. They are hidden in subliminal messages, and it is up to you to read it by the Spirit and to be able to didactically understand the deeper meaning in the stories of these words. The dogmatic Christians look at these things and they hear these things in a way where they idolize it and they do not understand that it is to be an analogy and they literalize it. And this is why the Bible says if you literalize it, it will cause death. It will cause killing. Remember, when the church was in power, they literalized the word and they made the word to kill people. They made the word to use it to start wars because the word is any sharper than any two-edged sword. But when the ignorance of someone's mind reads the word, they pervert it. It begins to turn into an aspect of perversion because it is not read through the spirit or the nature that gives life. Therefore, they read the word and it comes out and it only produces death. Remember, people do not see things for the way how they are. They see things on the way how they are. Oh, that just went over some people's head. I got to slow down here tonight, Frankie. Let me say it again. People do not see things the way how they are. They see things on the basis on how they are. Let me say it again because that went over some people's heads, Frankie. Make sure y'all are listening to what I'm saying. People do not read things on the basis of how they are, they only read it on the basis how they are. Once you understand this mystery, you'll understand more deeper about the law. I never forget, I was sitting down and I had someone work for me, and they were always telling me, be careful, Prophet, this person, you want to be careful because this person is going to steal. You want to be careful because this person can take from you. You want to be careful. You want to be careful. And they would always have some things negative to say about certain people and being careful because this person can take money from you or get money from you or do this from you or do that from you. And it was so interesting because I never saw that. Not to say that I have naivety, but to say that I did not see these characteristics in these individuals, not to say that it was not there, but because it was not my truth, I could not connect to it, and it could not affect me. Remember, when you are walking by truth, other people's ignorance cannot touch you. That is the secret of walking on water. That water, the nature of water, could not and was not able to dominate the higher law of the nature of Christ. And when you have the law or understand the law, you will understand that you will have dominion and dominate over things that seek to try to dominate over you. So there was a particular person, and they had that type of spirit on them. They would always tell me, be careful because this person can steal. Be careful. Watch this. Don't fill out. Don't be careful. Shred these documents. They were always so concerned about people stealing. Come to find out, they were the ones doing the stealing. That is the mystery, that people only notice who they are in others. So let's understand this aspect because we're talking about the nature. This is why the Bible says, they that are pure in heart shall see the Father, because the Father is pure. Because the Father is pure, you'll see the Father. They that are ignorant in heart shall see the devil, because the devil is ignorant. Therefore, you can only see what is in you. You can only see the Father on the reflection of the purity that you're able to see your own subjective mind. Chew on it, people. I'm breaking down the nature of the law. I'm just starting. You see, this particular person that worked for me, they would always talk about being careful because of people that would steal. They were only saying be careful because that was what was in accordance with their faith. And therefore, they could only see things by who they are and reflect it on who others are. Remember this principle as long as you live. The Bible says out of the mouth you can hear the heart speak. Out of the mouth you can hear the subjectified conversation that is going on within every person. Listen closely to what they are saying. Listen to the subjectified thought. For out of the heart comes the issues of life. Therefore, your disease, your sickness, your cancer, your tumor, your growth, all of these things, either we believe the word or we do not, are issues of the subjectified mind or the subconscious or the biblical terminology of the heart. For out of the heart becomes issues of life. These issues of life are not the devil, yet the dogmatic Christians want to blame the devil for every issue. They want to blame the devil. Even some of you partners use that rhetoric when you guys talk to me, and then you catch yourself. I was talking to one of my dear partners. She's so precious. She's listening right now. And she had to catch herself because she was saying, she said, Prophet, you don't understand. There was a lot of demonic activity. She said, well, I know that you said that and she started stuttering because she understood the principle that there is no devil except my own ignorance that has become my devil. And as long as she gave her ignorance to that devil, she would experience demonic activity. This is the secret, that he shall give you power over the serpents. That power over the serpents is when you have come into the awareness of the divine power within you. For when you have divine power within you, there is no demonic power that can touch you. For when you walk, they will have to flee. Not to say that it does not exist, but what I'm trying to say is that it cannot touch you, and you will see that it cannot persist. This is getting good. Now let's go further in understanding the law. The law is hidden in names, and names carry the nature. Tonight we are talking about the nature of the law, Sir Bernard. The nature of the law. When we look into ancient writings, whether they are ancient rabbinical writings or Judaic writings or any type of mystical writings, you must understand first that they are hidden. The truth is hidden in the names. These names are not just to be named, but these names are to be symbolism, to hide the deeper meaning of the names. When we look at the 12 tribes of Israel, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin, and we know out of Joseph we see also Manasseh and Ephraim. Let's go further to talk about this. Each of these names represent a nature. Each of them represent a nature. For example, when we hear Reuben, Reuben literally means, behold, a son. So it testifies of the Christ, or the Christ within us. The Son is the conscious nature becoming flesh, which is the Christ. Everything that carnates and becomes or turns out in the flesh is the son of that emotional impulse that was impressed against your subconscious. Everything that exists is the son or the child of that subjectified thought that was persisted in. The car that you are riding or that you drive, the chair that you're sitting in, all of these things represent the Son. The carnation that came or carnated out of a thought, a feeling, and a belief that persisted until it was created. So we see that Reuben represents the Son. We see Simeon represents heard. Hearing. It represents the ability to make sure that the ear is circumcised. Simeon's name comes from Leah's word. Because the Lord heard that I am not loved, he gave me this one too. His name signifies God hears, representing that God only hears the subjectified, impressed emotion. Let's go a little further about Simeon. Simeon does not only represent heard or to be heard, but you have to understand the language of the gods. I said the language of the gods. Haven't you not known that ye are gods and children of the Most High? The language of the gods representing the language of Elohim. Elohim comes from El, which means divine or God, and Him represents plurality. So when we see Elohim, it is plurality. In the Latin or English language, it is as if we added an S on a noun to make it pluralize. We have dog, we say dogs, representing the plurality. The Elohim represents the celestial or the celestial divine mind or the divine spirit in the celestial sphere. While we represent the terrestrial imaging God, the angels, the archangels, the cherubims and seraphims and thrones, they represent the celestial image of the Father.